This is the 2026 Honda Passport. It's a two-row, five-passenger SUV that's based on the same platform as the larger three-row Honda Pilot, which you may be familiar with if you frequent childcare pickup lines or supermarket parking lots. So this is the third generation of the Passport. The first one was built between 1999 and 2002. It was basically based on an Isuzu. But for 2019, Honda reintroduced the Passport name, bringing out a Honda-built, Honda-manufactured version of the truck. This third generation Passport is based on the same platform as the Honda Pilot that arrived for the 2023 model year. One big difference between the Passport and the Pilot is that all Passports come standard with all-wheel drive. In addition, the Passport is 1 inch wider, 2 inches taller, and has 1 inch more ground clearance than the Pilot, which means that the Passport is actually pretty roomy inside. However, overall length, the Pilot's 8 inches longer. So here's what we bought for our test program. It's a 2026 Honda Passport RTL with all-wheel drive. We paid $44,750 for it, to which we added this Sonic Gray paint for $455, the destination fee for $1,450, bringing the total cost to $46,655. And the final assembly location for the Passport is Lincoln, Alabama. There are 7 trims of the Passport available, all using the same 295 horsepower, 3.5-liter V6 and 10-speed automatic transmission. 3 of them are RTLs, which are designed more for on-road performance, and 4 have the Trail Sport moniker. Those have suspensions that are designed more for off-road use, as well as come standard with all-terrain tires. It's curious that there's no hybrid version available, considering there are competitors in the segment that do offer a hybrid. However, Honda has said that their next generation hybrid system, which will be designed to be in their bigger vehicles, will arrive around 2027. Despite our RTL being a less adventurous trim, it still has a lot of black plastic cladding and protective bodywork so that you don't get dings and dents, if you take it for some mild off-roading. It does have significant approach and departure angles, so you can go up some gravel roads and such. It's just not developed or designed particularly for severe off-roading like the Trail Sport versions. Even though there's differences in the exterior depending on the trim, the fundamental bare bones of the vehicle are all the same no matter the trim. With that generous wheelbase that it shares with the Honda Pilot, the Passport has really good access. Big doors front and rear, also has a very low sill to step over, so you're not really going to drag your pants against it, or you don't have to lift your foot up and really climb in like it's a big full-frame SUV. So as you can see, the interior has a functional rather than super nice feel to it. It starts out with a lot of storage. For example, you've got this dual level storage in the doors, so you have a lot of room to throw junk in here. Big bottle holder, nice grab handle for the on the armrest. Inside, you got this giant center console that's pretty deep. Even has a nice little coin or pen holder inside. Up front, you've got a wireless phone charger on a rubberized mat, as well as a second rubberized mat where you can either toss another cell phone, you could toss your keys, whatever you want to not slide around. Over here, you got kind of a grab handle probably for the off-road versions. But in this one, it's got a nice little tray, so you can keep some stuff there if you're the passenger. Probably the only real demerit that the car gets as far as storage is the glove box. And it's not because it's not roomy, it's just because it's kind of cheap plastic that flops open. Echoing the glove box, the interior is definitely more function over form. It has a rough and ready feel. It's not somewhere super nice. That said, you've got nice comfy leather seats with contrasting stitching. You've got the contrasting stitching and a nicely padded surface on the front of the dashboard. But the top of the dashboard, it's a little harder than a soft material. The windowsill on the top of the doors, it's not quite as soft as you see in some other vehicles. And there's definitely hard plastic on the rest of the door panel. The door and center armrests are pretty much on the same plane. They're soft enough, not somewhere, again, you're going to rest your elbows for hours, but it's fine. Overall, again, it's not going to break down. It's definitely good for cleaning. It's definitely good for being knocked about. It's just definitely not luxury. So the Passport comes standard with a 10-way power adjustable driver's seat and a 4-way power adjustable passenger seat, which is kind of nice. You often see that some vehicles, they cut corners on the base models by making the passenger seat manually adjustable. They're pretty wide seats, so they can accommodate a variety of body sizes and styles. They have good bolsters on the seat back, Not too confining, but definitely something that's going to keep you from sliding out of the seat. It's really nice that part of the 10-way adjustable driver's seat is the ability to lower or raise the leading edge of the bottom cushion. This lets you really tailor in your optimal seat position. Most of the controls in the Passport pretty much satisfied us. For example, we really like the fact that there's physical climate controls. Nothing's buried in the screen as far as adjusting the passenger temperature, the driver's temperature, even the heated seats. They're easy buttons that you can access there. You're not diving through menus to try to just adjust the seat heat temperature. So really good. Also, when you get to the touchscreen, it's pretty logically organized. It's easy to customize the homepage by moving the tiles around. We also like the rail on the left side where you can easily jump between Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, Bluetooth audio, maps, back to the home screen. That's pretty smart. Not every manufacturer has an easy way of getting out of whatever app you're in 3 layers deep. We do appreciate the manual control for audio volume and the power. It is a little bit small and you have to kind of be dainty when you're adjusting it. There is also, of course, a volume control on the steering wheel. Getting to the steering wheel buttons, again, nice buttons, no touch sensitive surfaces, which is all too common a thing you see these days. Probably the biggest headache is that if you're interacting with the driver information center or the gauge cluster, if you will, it requires the use of a small little roller button. You have to toggle in and out, press, and then back out using another control. It's a little annoying. It's a little convoluted. It could be a little better. But of course, there's more to the Passport than just the driver's seat. So why don't we take a look in the back? So the back seat is really easy to get into. Doors open almost 90 degrees, big footwell, lots of space, very comfortable seat, plenty of headroom. One of the downsides, the seat bottom is a little low to the ground, so there's not necessarily a ton of underleg support depending on how tall you are. You can fit 3 people fairly comfortably. For example, there's no central tunnel here that you often will see, so it's a decent space, decent footroom as well. The Passport's extra room is really evident in the back. So if you pop open the standard power tailgate, you'll see that it's a really big, wide, square opening, which is great for loading cargo, particularly big boxes, maybe even a TV. So there's a relatively low liftover and a nice flat load floor. On the left side, there's a secret compartment hidden underneath, which is really great. You could put dirty or wet stuff in there and it's not going to mar the interior. If you lift up the whole panel, there's a space saver tire, which is also nice to have inside versus underneath where it could get all messed up, dirty, rusty and awkward to get to. One of the things I really like about the Passport is that when you fold down the 60/40 split seats, it creates a flat load floor all the way to the front. That's really great for carrying stuff like a bicycle or something inside where it's not at weird angles or you have pedals falling into weird seams. Out on the road, the Passport doesn't stand out for ride and handling, but that's not a bad thing. It's really competent, it's controlled, particularly at low and middle speeds. Limited body lean going around our course, good bump absorption, not a lot of head toss, not a lot of impacts cutting through. It soaks up most imperfections pretty well. At around town speeds and even on the highway when you're cruising, the ride is really competent, soaks up most bumps and pavement imperfections well, such as highway expansion joints. They don't punch through to the passengers at all. Probably the biggest thing that you'll feel as far as ride control is that you get some head toss when you're going over a rough road like we are right now. Driving around on secondary roads, driving around on low-speed roads, you don't really feel too much of the bulk of the SUV. It's really well controlled. There's not much body lean. It's only when you really start to push the Passport that you begin to feel the top-heavy bulk of the vehicle, almost as if that extra ride height really comes through. You really feel the body lean and roll when you're going around tight corners at speed. It's not particularly surprising considering that the Passport is supposedly designed more for off-road performance and on-road performance. However, our RTL, which is more of an on-road vehicle, definitely has lighter steering as you start amping up the speed, turning in input. You do know where the front tires are communicated through the steering wheel, so it's not as if you're totally unaware of how much grip level you have or what direction they're pointed at, but it's not a vehicle that's designed to be really tossed around. The Passport, with its raised ride height and more off-road design, isn't as enjoyable or exciting to drive on-road as something like the Mazda CX-70. We really are happy with the Passport's driving position. You sit up very nice and high, you have a good view out the front window, there's relatively thin A-pillars, and a decent view over the driver's left shoulder as well as the right shoulder. The second row windows are big and square. That means when you do glance over to make a lane change, you do have a lot of visibility. You can really see a lot that's out there. The blind spot warning, definitely nice to have. One thing to think of, the hood of the Passport is relatively high, so there's a somewhat decent sized blind zone up front. It is nice that it comes standard with parking sensors, so you do have an idea of what's in front of you when you're pulling up, but it definitely does not take the place of being careful and being attentive when driving. Sitting behind the steering wheel, it's a roomy space. Even though the center console is wide and has hard plastic, it's not a confining space, so your right knee isn't going to bang onto it unless you really sit splay-legged. The dead pedal or the left footrest is wide, nicely angled, very prominent, and there's plenty of room for your right foot around the brake and accelerator pedals. Overall, the Passport's a pretty competitive mid-sized SUV. It's roomy, it's got good visibility, pretty easy to use controls. Driving and handling are so-so. It does what most people want. Probably the biggest question is price compared to the Honda Pilot. They're very similar, within $1,000 of each other. Unless you really want a trail sport version and you're gonna go off-roading, the argument may be, do I get the smaller Passport or the roomier, larger Pilot? For more information on the Passport and other mid-size SUVs, go to consumerreports.org.